Good morning, people. Good morning. Yes, it's completely dark in the room. I'm in my living room right now, and yeah, everything is very black. Boy, trying to get my thoughts together. Yes, today is good old Friday. Well, this week went so fast. Yes, I couldn't sleep, and I turned on my device, and I saw that the verdict was in on the Smollett, Jesse Smollett trial. He was found guilty of 5 of the 6 counts. But what I really want to say, like, I know how I felt throughout this trial, but I'm a little, I don't know the right term. Listening to the lawyer for the Tawanna brothers really put a different perspective on things. The lawyer was very poised. I really enjoyed how she spoke. She did not sound bitter at all, as I thought, they may have, but not at all. Yes, good morning, people. Yes, good morning. The screen is black. Yes, it's dark in the room. In my living room, I couldn't sleep. So, yes, the room is dark. Yes, so back with what I was saying. She really humbled me, the lawyer for the Tawanna brothers. Here she's the lawyer, and she, she didn't have to take the case, but she took it. She has a 1-year-old child, and she says she can't wait to get home so she can be with her baby. So when this whole incident started, she wasn't even pregnant. Isn't that something? So this trial affected so many people. And I was very touched when the lawyer said, Asandaro's lawyer said, that she had, in the proceedings, she had met with Smollett, and how polite and kind that he came across, and that she saw that deep down he really is a good-hearted guy. I was shocked when she said that, because to me how he comes across, and again, this was the first time, when the incident, the hoax happened, I never even heard of Smollett. I never watched the show. Didn't know who he was. But to have the lawyer for the Tawanna brothers, for her to be able to say that, I thought it took great strength. Prior to the verdict, I was very angry. Angry because I also believed that Smollett was lying. I couldn't find any truth in his statement. I feel that of a noose around someone's neck, and him flaunting that noose and found to be uh, putting it on himself and making it tighter to make it look more grimacing. The symbol of the noose in North America is an evil one. So he created again and exploited the histories of that noose, of fakery, pure fakery. And then uh, the LGBTQ community were also shamed. They didn't ask to be involved in this, but he made it an issue. And no one was attacking this LGBTQ community. And then the American public as a whole, traumatizing all of us. That, oh brother, here we go again. A bias incident, or what they call a hate crime. We don't want to hear stuff like this, especially during this painful time. Is it painful times? Yes, good morning, viewer. Good morning. Yes, the screen is black. I'm talking in the dark in my room, in the living room actually, and I find it easier to talk. But I hope you enjoy the content. So welcome to this live stream. So it's traumatizing. It makes people feel uncomfortable. It makes people start to look over their shoulder wondering who's feeling this way or that way about me. You have white conservatives who want to be able to vote for who they want to vote for. You have blacks who want to feel free that, hey, they can walk down the street in safety without somebody telling them things that are triggering, traumatizing. You want to feel safe. You want your children safe. And the idea that some two big guys would say words like that in a Chicago, very Democrat state. The city of Chicago was founded by a mixed race black person. How unlikely it seemed to me about everything he said about the hate crime. It sounded fake to me from the very beginning, and I think a lot of black people felt the same way. And again, I admire the lawyer of the Asandaro brothers. Oh, I'm sorry, my memory, I'm sorry. Yeah, she talked about healing. She said, this is all about healing. What I have to say, that the lawyer said, healing. I just thought it was such a powerful statement. It really, it really shifted my thinking. I still think what Smollett did was evil, but I feel a little more tempered in my emotions. If she didn't say what she said, I think I would be not as gentle spoken. it was a very important case. I'm glad that they reopened the case. I think what really messed Smollett over, see, they had dropped the case, remember that? They had dropped it. But see, his arrogance, he was to do what's that, community service. And I think it was for working for Jesse Jackson and stuffing envelopes. That's not community service. He basically got off. Um, the amount of money that was spent for the police to spend on it is outrageous because they're afraid. You have an actor, a Democrat, an actor, a black person, a homosexual, all that rolled in one to tarnish an already tarnished city. They wanted to fix this problem. Hey, wait a minute, this is happening. Something like this to a well-known, an actor. So of course they're on it. They're on the case. So you also had I think what also got him off the hook was his connections to the Obamas and Fox. There was um, was that, I forget what you call it, the Justice Department? Was that the Justice Department? I forget, but Fox. Her last name is Fox. And then this other person that's also like a friend of the Obamas. This was Obama town. Obama lived in Chicago. A very Democrat, a very, and he just distorted everything. So he wanted to get more money or something like that. He already got a job. There's some people that had no job, so selfish of him. You want more money, you got to negotiate. If they're not willing to negotiate, you leave and find another job, like everybody else. And the envelope, see, he most likely will probably, I wonder whether, I should say, I wonder whether he'll get prosecuted for sending hate mail to himself. They showed the envelope, the contents of his hate mail. This guy got a serious problem. Just to think that what was drawn was so disturbing to look at. This guy has a mental issue, in my opinion. I'm not a psychiatrist, but in my opinion, this Smollett has a very, very insecure view of himself. Very disturbing. It just looks all fake. So that letter that he sent to himself to show his staff, the people on the movie set, they didn't take it seriously because they have common sense, people. This Hollywood had more common sense to know that letter was a fake. So he wanted to juice it up more to get more attention. See, he said, insecure guy. And so he used his position of a Hollywood actor and imposed on his two Nigerian American friends to do this favor for him. And they felt obligated because they said that at least one of them was on the show. So they felt indebted to him to do it, this hate crime. So he has to create this Smollett had to create what he thinks a racist white person would do. Get a weird looking rope, and you know the bleach. What I think was put in a was it what I don't know if I was incorrect about it, but a Tabasco, a hot sauce jar. What is this? Where did he get that from? They said they wanted to use, was that gasoline, was it? What was that? But they used bleach instead. It's ridiculous. This guy is all this Hollywood. See, they start to believe Hollywood. They mean Jesse or Juicy. See, Hollywood is also partly responsible for the perpetuation of hate in America. It re-traumatizes people, re-traumatizes through the movies it makes. Hey, let's make this group out to be the villain, and that group to be the victim. And just the looks of a certain people to make other people think that they're either good or bad. Hollywood does that. It is an illusion maker. So here, Jussie couldn't even get it right. What a real hate crime would look like. Because of his, in my opinion, he has a sickness. And then to have his relatives, his family and relatives, friends by his side. I remember what he said like 2 years ago. He wouldn't say such a thing. He wouldn't. What was that? He wouldn't be his mother's child if he would do something like that. Something like that. Well, it's found that he did lie. And you know, the lawyer of the Osendero brothers said, "You will always be your mother's child, whether you lied or not. You're still your mother's child and always be your mother's child." Boy, if he would only have his mother, his siblings, his friends by his side, and talk to them, say, "Hey, I want a raise, I want this or that." They would have told him, "Don't do such foolishness. Don't do such foolishness, son or brother." He should have used his resources, his loving family, which would have told him, don't do such foolishness of mailing yourself a hate letter, or to orchestrate these two men that you know to fake a hate crime. See, we have resources, but we fail to use what is given to us: a loving family, loving friends, loving community. He had all that. They were by his side. I don't know how his family could have even believed him. They said, "Son or brother, your story sounds far-fetched." Far-fetched from the very beginning. Yes, good morning, viewer. Yes, the screen is black, but I'm here. Talk about the case, Smollett. Yes, he was found guilty of five of the six counts against him. People, we get so desperate. We want so much attention. We live in a country that has so much. Here he has a job. Well, I should say he had a job. He made money. He had a nice place. But that wasn't enough. We live in a selfish society. And we want to believe lies than truth. That we create the false reality of certain hatreds. Yes, there is hatred in America and all over the world. Hate is hate. But to create a false narrative is just adding to the fire. You hurt America, Smollett. You hurt the innocent people of America and people all over the world who are black, white, homosexual, conservative, all these people, because it went global. This story. And it's hurting the future victims of crime, whether it be a hate crime, what they call a hate crime, or any other type of crime. Because now it'll be harder to believe certain people. You have people who commit crimes on others. And because maybe someone got off, and let's say it's a racial issue, it's like a tit for tat. Well, so and so won this time, so the next time someone of the other group does something, we're gonna just not even listen to them. And they go back and forth, and I think that's what happened to me. 2.5 weeks ago, I get attacked in the middle of the street on Amsterdam Avenue around 79th Street in Manhattan, New York City. The police captured the woman. It was a woman that attacked me. And I spoke, it took 4 cops to subdue this woman. It was a white woman. Came out of nowhere. Happened in the middle of an intersection. And when they were wrestling her down to the ground, I told them, that is the person that attacked me. I want her prosecuted and arrested. And I wanted to make sure that they knew what I wanted out of this when they were trying to subdue her. And one of the cops, the cop that actually took down the report, or who I should say, who later was to take the report, file it. As I was telling him in detail what happened, he didn't want to hear it, what I had to say, and he downplayed it. And said, no. When I tried to tell him that there were 2 other victims of this woman's spree in attacking people. And coincidentally, the other person was an elderly black man, skinny. So When I tried to tell the cop about the other victims, hey, how you doing? Well, either way, he didn't want to hear it. And he said, I'm going to classify this as harassment and not an attack. And what I gather by how he spoke, the tone of his voice, and all the cops were white, one Hispanic female, and the remaining cops, the other three cops were white males. What I gather from his behavior, the cop, was that he wanted her off, and he wanted to help her out, like a tit for tat, because the racial climate in New York City, yeah, we had a lot of blacks, so-called minorities, and Antifa, who did a lot of melee last year. Fires, vandalism, beatings. And so now you have a white woman attacking a black woman. So a tit for tat. So I'm going to get off. I'm going to classify it as a harassment and not an attack or even a bias crime. See, this is the same type. This is what's happening. Why it was so dangerous. See, when you lie, and when you do things, criminality, and get away with it, it gets other people angry. That cop was angry at me. She was resisting arrest. She wasn't even arrested for fighting the cops. 4 cops it took to subdue her. She was a big lady, young and strong. See, that's where when you're in a position of power, whether because you're a performer, and you have influence over a large number of people, or you're a police officer who has authority to do things. And when you want to create a narrative because you're angry at someone else, you're taking it out on the victim. That police officer took it out. He took his anger, me as a victim, and took it out on me by not prosecuting that woman. And so, with all the melee with last year, all the fighting and beating up, and I'm sure people got killed last year in New York City. He said, well, this is a democratic city. Oh, we're not going to prosecute these black people for doing bad, for killing or robbing or setting fires. Sin produces sin. And no one wins out. No one wins in this situation. So the lady that attacked me, 4 days after the attack, she's in my neighborhood. She was directly across the street from me. How did that happen? She can go out, if she didn't take her medication for her schizophrenia, she could be attacking somebody else. She could attack a baby, a child, who knows? See, no one wins out. No one. And people like Smollett, he may feel justified because he wants the raise. And his anger about who was in the administration 3 years ago. You don't have to like a politician, you just vote them out. But that wasn't enough. That wasn't enough. Lies just contaminates people. And you know what this I'm glad of the that he was found guilty, because I believe he is guilty. I believe he lied about everything. But I think it was about, what was that, 40 years ago? It was a long time ago. I was a young girl, a young woman at the time. I was either, my late teens or early 20s. Tawanna Browley. Remember that? Tawanna Browley. This was someone, I think it was it New York City? Or Jersey? I forget what city. How could I forget? I forget what city it was. That's embarrassing. But I remember her name. It rang for a long time, that name, Tawanna Browley. She was a black teenager. I think it was in Jersey. It could have been in Jersey, the New York tri-state area. It could have been in Jersey. Those of you who hear this part of the live stream, if you remember what state it was, this incident with Tawanna Browley, let me know in the comment section. But Tawanna Browley was a black female teenager who created a hate crime on herself, like Jessie Smollett. She had wrapped herself in like plastic bag and feces on herself. And she said that police officers did it to her. And Al Sharpton took to her defense. It was a big thing. And back in those days, it was a lot of racism, especially if you're a young black person. I was a young black person back then. It was spooky for me back then. So you get a girl, again, traumatizing the whole city, infuriating people who already feel like victims, and the cops who were hated. Well, yeah, Al Sharpton was acting like a real idiot. He was very big back then. Al Sharpton was a very heavy set. He's a minister, Reverend Al Sharpton. He's a minister. He was real heavy set, and he had a hair relaxer. His hair straightened, and he was very boisterous about the whole incident, and was beating up people. I couldn't believe this. I wasn't even. Sorry about that. Come on, go back on. Yeah. Yeah, but that's what was happening. Yeah, you just go on YouTube and you'll see it. Tawanna Browley. Yeah, I saw it, that case again over YouTube maybe 2 years ago. It was traumatizing. I was very fearful. I was fearful for my life as a young black female. But what happened with Tawanna Browley? A classmate, if I remember right, Yeah, we didn't have the same type of computers like we have now. Everything was television and newspapers. And a student said, hey, the scenario, what happened to her, sounds like a paper that she did for class. She created it all in her head, this Tawanna Browley. She wrote a story, a fictional story for class about what happened to her, what she claims the police did to her. Yeah. They realized she lied. But what I recently found out about the case, see, I was very young back then. And the news, it was very sensationalized. What on YouTube, what it said when I started digging into the case, was that a police officer committed suicide because of the incident. She had lied on these police officers, and he couldn't take the pressure, and so he committed suicide. What a waste of life. And when it's found out that she lied, Al Sharpton did not retract his statement. He did not um, condemn the girl, did not rebuke her as a minister. He should have done that. I don't even think the girl got arrested. She should have gotten arrested. Some penalty. And so a life was taken. They created the Tawanna Browley created a false reality. She wanted to believe falsehood. She wanted attention. Some black individuals feel insignificant because we live in this fake world, fake money, fake homes, fake lifestyles. You want to feel important. And so you want attention to feel better about yourself. I don't know how putting poo-poo on yourself and wrapping yourself in a plastic bag, and she was found like that. So she's even stayed in it. I don't know how long she was uh, pretending to be something, unconscious, whatever. Yeah, she was found in there. She put herself in there. That was a hate crime. She hoaxed a hate crime, and nothing happened to her. Wow. Yeah, New York City is a very Democrat state. A lot of so-called liberals, right? Well, we got to stop our behavior. See, we want to believe the narrative of this. Yeah, racism does exist. Bigotry does exist. And anybody could be a bigot. Anybody. Look, when you go on the train, you see people eyeballing each other. Oh, they looked at me funny. Oh, they stepped on my foot. Oh, they got a fancy car and I don't have it. You see it all the time. Because we believe in the illusions that you're not worthy and somebody else is. So you get angry. It's a violent society. And I think we're being played. I think the whole planet is being played to react the way that we are. We're being baited. Social media. Social media is a big fiend in all this, creating false realities, putting fuel to the fire so it spread. And so, do you think the so-called Democrats are going to apologize on the account of what Smollett did to the country? Created a reality that a particular uh, social group, white conservatives or Trump supporters, did a particular thing, and it's found out that they didn't do it. That someone from their own community did it, did the falsehood. It, come on, it's okay. Yeah, the stream started getting started buffering. Yeah, so what do we gain in all this? We didn't gain anything. We didn't gain anything from Jesse Smollett. His family now has to walk around in shame. I hope Smollett apologizes to the public. He needs to apologize. I hope he does jail time because he deserves it. His behavior when they drop charges. Again, he's friends of the Obamas. Very it seems like everybody associated with these people, the Obamas, is just something unsavory about them. And yes, I voted for Obama the first time, but not the second time. Yeah, they're not. You're not right. See, you can only lie so much, and then people say, I had enough of your lies. I had enough. We as a nation had enough of lies. And that lawyer, she brought me back. She said, it's about healing now. She couldn't have said it any better. Yeah, it's about healing. Stop lying on your neighbor. Stop lying. Stop lying. This country really is a great place to live. It's enough for everybody. Stop the lies. Stop believing in yourself that you're more than enough. You don't need to lie about your status. Lie about what happened. Yeah, so you have Tawanna Browley, and now you have Smollett. Yeah, those people who rallied for him, who they know that he's lying. The news reporters was slammed. They were in favor of Smollett. It sounded ridiculous. Why? Because he was their own and smeared innocent people. Trump. It's smearing Trump. Oops, I was supposed to say that word. It's smearing him. Number 45. It's smearing those people who voted for him. It's smearing the LGBTQ community, giving them a bad reputation, even further bad reputation. It's smearing the black community. I hope I hope he apologizes to all who needs to be apologized. He has to also apologize to his family too. I don't know how his siblings could believe him. The story sounds preposterous, phony, and stupid. Wow. I hope justice comes out of this trial. So he was found guilty of 5 of the 6 charges. I hope he gets jail time so that if someone in the future thinks they're going to do a hate crime, a false hate crime, it's going to deter them. He should be prosecuted to the fullest because he hurt so many people and became arrogant about it, non-repentive. Yeah, I hope he gets jail time, and maybe it will help mature him. We don't need, see, black community also. We need to out people who lie on us. Don't support liars, just like Tawanna Browley. There's so many of us who are victims. Expose what is evil because it's like a poison. If you don't get rid of that poison, it's going to spread and hurt all types of people. And it's not about saying, oh, well, you have to protect your own. You protect the innocent. You protect the innocent. And you expose the liars. So with that being said, I hope the jury will give him the penalty that he really deserves, because this jeopardized the whole country and the whole planet because it was heard all over the world, stigmatizing our country even further. We all already are in a bad situation. So I thank you for listening. And sorry for the screen, but it's okay. So take care and enjoy your weekend. Let's be good to one another. Let's be good and kind to one another so we all can heal. Thank you again. Bye-bye.